Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Marvel Rivals Ignite qualifier game. By the time you're watching this, the first week of Ignite will almost be over, so make sure you head over on Thursday to Sunday to watch all the games on the official Marvel Rivals channel, because I'm there sometimes. So make sure you go check that out, and also all the other talent are really good. I just had a cast yesterday, in the time I'm recording this, with leg day as a little practice. Absolute delight, was really enjoyable. But today, we are jumping over to the Americas, and we have our draft already starting. This is the qualifying game between Ego Death and Arrival 7. Winner will move on to the Marvel Rivals Ignite. Loser will have to try again in MRC. We're starting off Groot getting protected. The Wolverine gonna be banned away here. So Groot gets a little bit more powerful with the Punisher banned as well. Winter Soldier is banned. This is a Groot, Emma Frost, and Magneto heavy leading game right now. This draft is going to be brutal for those, as Emma Frost is protected, Magneto still available as well. But most of the Groot counters have now been taken out. The Wolverine, of course, can try and pick up the Groot, isolate them, and get them out of position. The Punisher can clear out the Groot walls very quickly, and the Bionic Hook from Winter Soldier can also pull Groot away from their team, and you can try and blow them up quickly that way. So seeing all of these counters banned away is going to be extremely scary to deal with. Going to see the Hulk taken away. Not a direct counter in any way, but just a strong character when there are flyers on the board, as already the Storm has been protected. Meaning Ego Death kind of have to ban the Jeff, unless they're planning on doing a Jeff Nado of their own. They are not! They ban Ultron, meaning Jeff Nado is on the board for these teams. And there is a Jeff currently being hovered by far to the power of 1, but it looks like they are going to let it go, not going to fall into that trap this time. It's a good strategy, which we've been seeing a little bit in the Oceania regions, but I don't know if... Again, these games were played like 2 or 3 days after the patch came out. I don't know if we will be seeing that jumping in here, although here is a Storm. With Hela also protected on the board, so there's a little bit of anti-flyer here. Let's see what they can do. We've introduced these teams before, we've covered them before, we've covered a lot of them individually as players in our top ranked game casts that I do in between the MRC and Ignite seasons. Chemicals, a big player in terms of the games I have cast quite a few times, just doing so much work. One of the first tournaments I did like officially for like MR Taunts was with Arrival 7, and they were crazy good. Arrival 7 on attack, Ego Death on defense, and they've brought out the Black Panther here. Black Panther plus the Captain America going heavy on the dive here to try and punish the backline that way. Whereas Arrival 7, they've got a little bit safer here. They are going for that Groot, not going to be picking up the Emma Groot combo, the Emma Magneto combo, even though they do have the Psylocke. Going to be pushing their way up onto the point here. The Black Panther is where we're going to be watching, as it's not played very often here. It can be insane if they can get the angles. Already dropped a little bit low. Flamme was taken down, and Self will get targeted and will be the 1-for-1 trade. Guardian Barrier to allow the slow creep forward for the side of Arrival 7 as they look to try and claim a point for themselves here at this early stage to get that cart moving. Summon that Essence of Null and allow them to push onto the point. Good pickup for Hoffman, taking out momentum. Pushing onto the point, Sombler's going to be zoned away, still trying to target their way in. Vibrating Energy Sword, not finding a pickup as Monotone and Pinnacle will take down the defending members. Ego Death zoned completely off the point here as Arrival 7 cruise on through. A dominant setup at this first push here with Chemicals already charged up on that Dance of the Butterfly. It's playing quite far forward just in case they're able to find an early setup here. Looking for openings as Pinnacle Setting up the walls to punish anyone who comes in through those entrance points as Omega Hurricane gonna be dropped from Hoffman. Forces out the fate of both worlds, but momentum has already fallen. Hoffman will back away, protected by the group wall, and they're able to back away, even with Sombler trying to give chase. But in the backline, Self swapped off the Black Panther and onto the Iron Fist, a little bit more sustained than the Black Panther, able to stay a little bit stickier and pressure that backline. Pushing on in. Straggling Prison to trap the divers. Down goes the Iron Fist, but Sombler able to stay up. The rest of the team not so lucky though, as Soko and Zatek are also picked off here. Locked down with the snowball. And while the cap is continuing to pile on the pressure, the extra healing from momentum keeps the team up, and they're finally able to get the turnaround onto Monotone, but Far goes down. Hoffman is still picking up elimination after elimination, as right now Arrival 7, the card was held for a long time by Sombler, but they've won the fight and they keep on pushing. Finally finishing off Momentum, who was off around the side. Trying to make their way in. Soko goes down. Self is once again on the flank. Into the backline. Stay sustained. Keep the delay going. Zatex takes to the sky with the Goddess of Death, Media M. Able to block it. Has to Astral Flog, but is picked off by Hoffman. On the way out, who's going in for the Omega Hurricane to cut off all reinforcements. Only Regeneration Domain buys a little bit of time, but it's not enough to protect momentum. Self goes down to Chemicals, and Chemicals hasn't really even used that Dance of the Butterfly that much this game, just holding onto it for when it's needed, as Hoffman and Pinnacle have been finding the eliminations. Here we go to punish the portal for the defense. Dance of the Butterfly focused almost entirely on Strange, who was the main body on the point there. They cleaned out one. Psionic Seduction from Soko to try and buy a little bit of extra time to push on in, as Living Weapon is available for the turnaround. Straggling Prison comes on out. Momentum is picked off, removing that Regeneration Domain potential to protect the backline. Pushing on in, trying to get onto Groot. They are able to find Hoffman, which is big, but down they go. Soko's taken out. Zatek's nowhere near. Momentum's nowhere near. And that is going to be point number 2, picked up by Arrival 7. The momentum has been slowed down a little bit. Arrival 7 forced to slow down, but they're still winning these fights as Ego Death move in for the defensive point. Living Weapon still available as Self goes for a big wraparound here. Coming on in from behind. Living Weapon dropped early, trying to get onto Hoffman or the Strategist. In fact, they will go to Magneto with the targeting with that percentage damage. Just trying to stay mobile, trying to stay moving as Hoffman taken out by Zatek using the distraction and the focus on the Invisible Woman, forcing out the invisible boundary, meaning Self isn't going to get much more out of this, but the distraction still set their team up for the first elimination here. Momentum was able to drop a fate of both worlds with a God of Mischief here. And Hoffman is trying to get onto Self here as Chemicals pushes up through the middle. They have Dance of the Butterfly, they have Omega Hurricane. Going deep into the backline here. Chemicals drops that Dance of the Butterfly. Regeneration Domain will be activated immediately, but that means there's no more defensive abilities here. Psionic Seduction comes on in. Omega Hurricane, Media M to try and take them out. Will find Monotone as the Omega Hurricane trying to take advantage of hopefully all the Strategist ultimates being taken down. Trying to get onto the backline, but no, the fate of both worlds is still there as Far to the power of 1 is able to take down the Storm. Hoffman goes down. And Ego Death will hold. Self is once again going for a big wraparound here. Diamond form for Soko to keep the line held. Pinnacle has that Straggling Prison. Spore Bomb, direct hit. Creeping forward step by step, using the walls for a little bit of cover. They can't go too far though, as Chemicals is picked off once again. Numbers disadvantage. They don't want to get caught out. In the meantime, Self is continuing to be a menace in the backline. Forces out the Regeneration Domain, backs away, and is able to stay upright. Monotone with the invisible boundary as the Straggling Prison also comes in. They're going to try and capitalize and take out the defenders. But Fate of both worlds from Momentum with that God of Mischief has shut that down. As Self is still in the backline, takes out Hoffman, pushes on in, doing a fantastic job so far. Self backing away. This Iron Fist seems to be working. Zatek taken out. This car has not made a lot of momentum here. Chemicals trying to push on in. Almost has that dance in the butterfly, and they are going to commit to it into the back line. Takes out far. Momentum both down. Monotone is taken out in this chase. Flammy is taken down. While the back line is deleted. It's a mirror almost as Ego Death are cleaning out, making this a 3 for 4 in favor of Arrival 7. But they were able to get some counter pickups. Now it's a 5 for 4, 5 for 3. And that evens it up with Chemicals going down. Ego Death able to funnel back in and turn this round. Hoffman likely about to swap to Strange? No, they're going to try and run on in. Say they were waiting so they could speed boost their team to get them in time to get them to that point as they've got a full minute to go. Save the portal for later. Sombler leading the charge off of the cap now. That's Omega Hurricane. Going to be dropped nice and early directly onto the entire backline. But backing out, they know that they could be in danger if they stick around here. As Zatek takes to the sky with the Goddess of Death. Media M going to be blocking a lot of that. Here comes the Media M, but it's blocked out by the Regeneration Domain. Blue was still able to take out Sombler, though Flamme with their own fate of both worlds, straggling prison, and this time Pinnacle has the angles. They clean up here. The high ground has been defended, and Arrival 7 are looking with 5 seconds remaining to try and clean this out. Iron Fist comes in once again to buy time, wait for the team to respawn. Self is now down, but have they bought enough time for their team to try and turn this round momentum? Gonna clone the portal to try and block them, to try and zone them away. They're making their way forward. Fate of both worlds to try and touch the point. Psionic Seduction to lock down the attackers. Chemicals on that. It's Doctor Strange to try and zone out for the team, to try and hold him. But Hoffman is down. Invisible Boundary is about to expire as Pinnacle is giving everything they can right now. Self has revived and is back onto the point. No ultimates are available for either team right now as Hoffman is gonna be swapping over to that Star-Lord to try and defend, to try and hold the line. Zatek pinging in from above on the side. Gets one, gets two, and it looks like we're starting to run out of numbers here with the Straggling Prison. Pinnacle goes down, and with no portal available, Arrival 7 will be cleaned off the board. And Ego Death will hold on 2 points, 136 meters, 68 centimeters. As the team swaps sides, how do they choose to address this? Ego Death are now on attack, looking at something a little bit more ranged as opposed to some backline pressure here as they're looking at the Hawkeye. Potential to just siege in and ping away at the defensive positions of Arrival 7, especially if they're trying to run a Storm again on the defense. Could be a great option to try and ping about the sky. Otherwise, they're relying on Iron Fist to lock on and track those flying characters, and that's what they're going to commit to, sticking with that Iron Fist. This does, of course, also give the Atlas Bond over to the Lunar Snow here. Fast to the power of 1 and getting a little knockback in case they get dove on the backline. And Arrival 7, they're going to stick with the exact comp from before. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They got very far, almost to the finish line, and they're going to stick with Psylocke, Storm, the double fade of both worlds from Monotone and Flamme, and that solid front line, maximizing the use of this Groot when so few counters are on the board, as Ego Death choose to not go that direction. Make it out the door, no portal engage here. Just going to make their way towards the point. Grouping up as a team. Self coming in through that center point, but will wrap around to the left with the rest of the team when needed. Looking for an opening, can find Storm right away, but does not want to get picked off by diving in alone, as Zatek is taken down. Numbers advantage already in favor of Rival 7, as Hoffman will get taken down by momentum, evening it up. Self commits, gets that Iron Bulwark, gonna get focused down, will be forced to back away, gets picked off by Blue. Chemicals gets another pickup, Soho Soko, sorry, is going to be focused down, picked off, and Ego Death are driven back. Arrival 7 losing Hoffman early, but they're still able to hold, and Hoffman will arrive back and reinforce as Self realizes that, yep, this is going to be hard to jump into melee-wise. It's time for a bit more of a sieging approach. They move over to that Hawkeye with the new team up with the Lunar Snow. They can go in for some Frost lockdowns if they want to, but now just taking out the Loki clones and picking in from range. There's the Frost Shot, which does pierce. Little bit of damage. Dove in there on the Psylocke, but able to defend with the Fate of Both Worlds and the knockback from that Hawkeye as they push on in. Groove Walls proving very hard to deal with. Straggling Prison as Arrival 7 are trying to hold, but the Media M, the Fate of Both Worlds from Momentum, was able to buy them a little bit of time. Zatek takes out Chemicals. Far to the power of one. Change their own Fate of Both Worlds directly after Momentum's Flamme falls. Chemicals is down. Monotone is the only Fate of Both Worlds, only defensive ability left on Arrival 7 except for the Media M, which is being held onto for a long time. And Designer Seduction comes on in to set up for the Dance of the Butterfly as that ability does silence to try and set them up as Ego Death claims third number 1, wrapping in to the backline, looking for Monotone, looking for Pinnacle, focusing them down with the lockdown from the diamond form of the Emma Frost, and it's looking like Ego Death may be able to hold this, cleaning out Chemicals, chasing Flammy and Monotone to try and stagger those eliminations. The full chase with the Iron Bulwark for blow up number 1, 2, and retreat. Point 1 picked up by Ego Death. A fantastic hold there. Self sticking on this Hawkeye, going to be pinging away. Goes for the piercing shot. Not finding any targets this time. Not finding any targets at all. There we go. Landing onto Pinnacle. Psylocke once again in the back line, gets knocked back.
Extra protection.
Self trying to maximize damage output. Goes for the Frost Shot to try and lock him down. Sorry, that wasn't a Frost Shot. That was another piercing shot. This time they get picked off. Chemicals on the flank, causing a lot of difficulty. That Psionic Stealth into the regeneration domain so that they can make sure to defend this. Fate of Both Worlds from Momentum. Self back onto the Iron Fist, giving Momentum a little bit of disengage as Chemicals is looking for an opening right now. Media M from Sombler snipes Monotone as Flamme with their own Fate of Both Worlds with the God of Mischief is keeping their team held onto the point. Fast to the power of 1 with their own mirror. Media M comes on in and Self dives the backline. Dragon Kick to disengage, jumps into the Dance of the Butterfly so they can absorb some of the damage for their team and then turn onto Chemicals, chasing them down, looking for the 1v1 elimination, which they will find. Pushing onto the point. Waiting for an opening. Hoffman with that Hunter's Sight. Straggling Prison comes on in. Hoffman is getting targeted, dropping very low, but they're healed up by the Lokis. Finds the elimination onto Self, preventing that backline dive. Nice deflect, but still taken down. As Zatek is going to portal in for the team. They've got 2 minutes to go, but they're portaling this early. Trying to take advantage of the fact that someone might be respawning or returning from base. Deflex into the backline. Percentage damage onto that Groot as the Fate of Both Worlds comes on out, denying a lot of the follow-up from Flamme. God of Mischief for the turnaround. All other ultimates are not yet available except for the Fate of Both Worlds from Momentum with the God of Mischief, and Far to the power of 1 will soon have theirs. Sombler, Media M just off cooldown, blocked by the Magnetic Curtain. But Far takes out Hoffman. Zatek gets blue. Pinnacle goes down, and Ego Death are cleaning up here and will claim point number 2.
The vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
Fantastic push.
Let's deliver null distance below the surface.
Making their way in towards the next point. Good lockdown. Onto Sombler. Slows down the push at least a little. Chemicals, of course, wrapping around to the side. Psionic Stealth finds the sneaking Zatek on the flank. But immediately, Self, knowing they're there, finds them, picks them off, and Self has a bit of a vendetta, it seems. Wrapping around, living weapon into the backline. Regeneration domain, but they're still going to be able to focus down the lanterns. Finds the Hawkeye on the flank. Knockback over the top. There is no escape. It's only a single elimination, but the rest of the team was able to clean out Arrival 7. Can anyone even reach the point in time? Cap tries to rush on through, trying to body block them, hold them off the point with the diamond form. That is going to be a triple cap for Ego Death as they claim map number 1. Ego Death take the lead. And far to the power of 1, taking the MVP very effectively. Doing some great Luna work that entire game, only getting taken out 6 times, which is very low for this game. Let's look at the statistics. Top eliminations will be Zaytek with 33. Least amount of times getting KO'd will be Pinnacle with 4, closely followed just a little bit behind by the 5 of Sombler and the 6 of Far to the Power of 1 and Blue. Most assists goes over to Monotone, who got SVP. The Lunas doing some great work today. And the most final hits will go over to Zaytek. Most final hits, most KOs, 19 final hits. Not able to top the damage numbers, though, as Hoffman, starting on that Storm, getting huge AoE for a while there. Going to be hitting that 30k damage and 12 final hits, doing some impressive work throughout that match. Top damage blocked. 59k for Pinnacle. Doing some crazy good work there. That is almost 12k ahead of anyone else in the game. Next highest being Sombler with 47k. They only went down 4 times as well. Pinnacle, they got KO'd the least amount of times. They ate the most amount of damage. They did a reasonable amount of damage. Tied for second with 27k. Tied up there along with Socko. And top healing. Very close once again, but it is going to be Flamme with 46k. 2k more than Far. 4k more than Momentum. With Monotone a little bit further behind with that SVP, but still doing a fantastic job. And that's game number 1. Let me get us set up for map number 2 here. It's a best of 3. So if Ego Death can clean this up, then they will be qualifying in a 2-0. If Arrival 7 can win game number 2, then we'll be heading to a 3rd map to earn that spot. Looks like the next map is going to be Hell's Heaven for our 2nd game in this best of 3. As we load into that, a quick shout out once again. If you like to support this channel, you can do so by liking the video, leaving a comment, or hitting that thanks button, ringing the bell for the subscriptions, etc. You can also help by hitting the thanks button to send a one-time donation, following my socials, watching the video all the way through with ad block off, so that when the ads play, I get a little bit of money from a very large company that has too much. And of course, you can also support by becoming a member, which will give you early access to videos behind the scenes if I do any lands in the future, which I might. I'm part of Ignite and MRC now, we'll see. Or you can also get your name shouted out as a member like these wonderful people every single video. Dub Alt, Lucas Tyson, Arso, Doki Pokey, and John. Thank you all for your support. If you have subbed over the last couple of days, I recorded this on the 11th, you will get shouted out when I get the opportunity. Let's head on in to the draft as we're already underway. With Ego Death on the left, Arrival 7 on the right. The Wolverine getting banned out nice and early once again, but Ultron will be protected this time. A couple teams at the start of the season latched onto Ultron extremely hard, like Shamungus, for example, whereas others haven't been touching him as much. Venom was also taken out of action, removing the options for those dive characters, making it at least a little harder. We've already been seeing some Captain America play, so you don't want to deal with too much dive. AMER is protected. And again, we're seeing a lot of the bans onto these Groot counters. The Luna, very sensible ban here. You do know now that Self plays not only the Iron Fist, but also the Hawkeye, both of which now work extremely well with the Luna Snow. So taking her out will make both of those weaker. Extremely sensible. Hela is protected. A way to deal with some of these flying characters. There's the Storm. Held for a second time. Arrival 7. What is the last ban for them? They take out Black Panther. We saw it for just a little bit. But they're going to take it out here. And that's going to be the Iron Man removed from the board with that Ultron on the in the game here. Going to be taken out, prevent it from capitalizing too much with that extra burst healing from the team up. Looks like, though, Chemicals may in fact be playing an Ultron here. Triple strategist setup. With Ultron filling in that third strategist, but also the second duelist role, as the damage output from Ultron can be extremely effective. But there is that Hela from Self on the other side, and Zatek, both of which are able to target extremely effectively onto those flyers. There is even a cloak and dagger currently being hovered here for far to the power of 1. Technically can auto-lock onto these flyers if you want to, but also can keep your team healed up in a grouped area. There's the BRB for a little bit of bonus health for everyone. Same from the other side here with Arrival 7. Bringing out the penny, but they're not doing the team up. So they're not bringing it here for the armor. Are they running this? Oh, wow. Arrival 7. Oh, I see. Nest, mines, for anyone who comes through the portal. They're trying to try and portal engage onto Ego Death. It's not great, but the mines are still there in case anyone tries to counter dive. Going to try and contest them with the regeneration domain already set up onto the high ground. And Blue backs away through. They lost Hoffman right at the start of this fight. They decide, no thank you. We are against this strategy. Interesting idea there, trying to use the penny to set up for a portal trap, but they just did not find the angle they wanted. First point picked up by Ego Death. Pinnacles showing just how powerful this Ultron can be, the damage output. Keep the team topped up with that imperative firewall. Hoffman nearby. Damage boost, of course, may make this very strong as Zatek is hovering on the flag. Down goes Hoffman as Self on the Hela this time is doing some incredible work. Gets a second here. And a third. And Self, they let Zatek play the Hela last time, and this time it's all theirs as they are cleaning up right now. Ego Death dominating this first round of map number 2. Hoffman creeping on in, but they're going to wait for the whole team before they fully engage. Up to 50% already for Ego Death. Zatek spots the Ultron, will back away, does not want to get caught out of position. Sees the engage coming up. They almost have an ultimate of their own. They may try and just farm it up and go for a backline dive. Quick blow up onto Flame would be good here. Shuriken Dash does not find it. Going to try and contest as far. Did drop the Eternal Bond for a little bit of burst healing for the team. Chemicals with the rage of Ultron Meteor to block it, but it's going to be cleaned out. Takes Assembler and Monotone as Hoffman into the backline for the counter attempt. But Zatek is cleaning up the backline, and they didn't even use their ultimate for it. Pinnacle is in full retreat as we just saw Arrival 7 get cleaned off the board here. 88, 89, and Arrival 7. They are going to try and portal. 30 seconds left. They can't. They may just have to wait until next round with 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Round number 1 of game 2 goes over to Ego Death in convincing fashion. That was a strong, strong performance. Heading over to the frozen airfield now. Once again, starting on the penny. Is it this time for the armor? Yes, it is. So, despite me making the mistake a couple times previously when I was talking about it before, this extra penny armor gives 50 bonus health as opposed to the rocket that gives 25.
I'm impressed, kid. That's some serious tech you're wearing there.
why you can spread it out. You also should, in theory, have, yep, the little bit of a misplay there. You should still have Sombra grab the armor from the rocket as well, so you've at least maximized your possibilities. The Jeff is here. No Storm, just Jeff. Is this just for a speed boost? In which case you've lost even more armor value. Yeah, so they just lost all that bonus health again. Ooh, a little bit of a misplay, so Momentum's going to have a much longer route to go. Just going to run it in. We see a Star-Lord composition for Rivals 7. As Hoffman has moved over to the Adam Warlock. Maximum revives. Stars of the Butterfly to open up from Zatek, but it's going to be blocked by the invisible boundary immediately here. Pinnacle trying to split the team in two. Here comes the Psionic Seduction from Socko to push on in. Gets Pinnacle, finds Flamme on the flank on that Mantis, who gets picked off quickly. Pinnacle has Straggling Prison trying to push on in. Flamme returns with the Cocoon for the revive. Going to get blinded by the Terror Cape as they push on in with the lockdown. Trying to get onto Sombra, who as they push on in. Group walls to try and trap them. Spore Bomb, but holding on to the ultimate. Waiting out for it here as the Eternal Bond comes in from far to the power of one to try and help them hold the line. But Rival 7 will be the team to grab the point first. Galactic Legend is available, and they're going to pull the trigger. Media M as Chemicals trying to melt on through. Flamme is down. Invisible Boundary. Zentek is getting focused down here. Chemicals going to try and push on in. Blaster Mirage. Galactic Legend found nothing, but the damage output is still effective. Trying to get through that Emma with the wall from Groot to shut it down. Regeneration Domain Lantern taken down. Zatek is sniped on the flank. Iron Fist has returned. Self making their way back in. Blaster Mirage dropped low, but Chemicals will get healed up. Gonna see the soul rejuvenation from Flamme as they push on in. Self goes down, Far goes down. Blaster Mirage for the finishing chase. And we're seeing a Rival 7 in much better spirits this time. Are gonna be able to claim the point, hold 50% so far, and they still have Karmic Revival. Self off of the Iron Fist onto the Storm. See if they can get some quick blow-ups here. Hoffman going to be bridged up to the high ground, keep them a little bit safer. Cosmic Cluster for some quick blow-ups. Focus down here. Guardian Barrier has to be used as they are getting targeted by Zatek. Meantime, Chemicals is still on the flank, being a nuisance. Getting healed up nice and slowly. Omega Hurricane already ready. Eternal Bond to try and keep the team up. But everyone is tagging through. Blue, the only person to go down in this fight, as Galactic Legend is going to be dropped with the Karmic Revival to bring the team back together. They are healed up, picked off, and will be brought back at the Adam Warlock revive. And even with that huge defense, it's a Rival 7 who once again clean out the board. And unless we see an incredible portal, but there's no way with that amount of time left, that is going to be a Rival 7 evening up map number 2. One more win for Ego Death. And they are moving on to Marvel Rivals Ignite. If a Rival 7 can claim the Eldritch Monument, then we are heading to a map number 3. This is a very close game. Are we going to be seeing them stick with the same strat? Let's look at the differences. After one round, top damage. Currently Pinnacle and Sombra. Sorry.
This conflict is growing more dire with every new challenge.
Top eliminations. The 12 of Blue. Top final hits currently is 5. Also by Blue, but doing a fantastic job on this Magneto. The healing output, a little bit more spread out as you come to expect, but it seems to be working far. Once again, on the Jeff, give him a boost out of spawn. But this time bringing it, it's time for Jeff Nado. Ego Death are pulling the trigger. With so much on the line, you try everything in your power. As a Rival 7, they run it back. They saw it worked. They don't need to adjust. Self-dropped low, but will be healed. Already going in for a God of Mischief here. For momentum onto Mantis. Soul Rejuvenation to set up for the team as they push on in for the main engage. Flamme gonna mirror it as Chemicals will get taken down by Zatek, who heads into the sky after getting targeted. Goddess of Death eating a lot of damage, turns to hide their head so they can stay up in that Goddess of Death for a little bit longer, but they're forced to Astral Flock to get out of danger as Hoffman barely able to escape. Far keeping the team topped up. It's the new Jeff. Gets the bubble, backs away. Just going to be waiting for Self to get fully charged, but Self has been taken down. Healing output's good. Still not enough. The team's just getting picked off on the sides one by one. Chemicals returning from spawn as they were sent there earlier. Karmic Revival still doing some huge work here. Pinnacle almost having that straggling prison for the setup. Thornlash Walls for a little bit of a block, trying to split the team in two. Ironwood Wall as they were dropped extremely low. Blaster Barrage. Here comes the Omega Hurricane with the Jeff to try and wipe out the backline. They hold the Jeff to extend the duration. They dive deep. Monotone and Chemicals are taken down. But Hoffman has snuck up to the high ground. That's a Karmic Revival, but they are getting counter-wiped immediately here. Chemicals is down. And even with those revives, Arrival 7 are getting cleaned off the board here. With the chase, taking out Blue, and with 37% on the board, Arrival 7 are driven out. Ego Death claim it and are on 22%. Karmic Revival was good, but the immediate follow-up burst, taking them down. Pinnacle still has that straggling prison, held onto it. Spore Bomb, a little bit of opening damage. Chemicals has the Galactic Legend, but needs to be kept safe during it. Needs Blue. Blaster Mirage finds essentially nothing. Galactic Legend gonna be burned. Gonna get a little bit of extra protection as the Silent Seduction will come out. Gets that Iron Bulwark as they try to focus onto the backline members. Would love to get Self. Blaster Mirage with no extra protection, just maximum damage. Takes out the clones, but can't find a full elimination. Zombie will go down. A melee from Chemicals for another elimination. They barely get out of danger as they're being chased down by Self, but will get cleaned down. Arrival 7 claim back the point at 63 to 43, but Arrival 7 have control. Ego Death making their way back in. Self has that Omega Hurricane at the ready.
Oh, I'm fine. Don't mind me.
Far is just charging up. Team top, straggling prison! It is essentially everyone, but doesn't the butterfly from Zatek into the backline will buy them a little bit of extra time. Momentum with the God of Mischief for a little bit of extra protection is holding onto it though for an extra second. Here comes the Omega Hurricane with the Jeff. Jeff Nado dropped extremely early this time to maximize timing, but they'll still get taken out here. Portal coming in for Arrival 7. They're just going to try and reinforce the point and keep a hold of it, as right now they're ticking up 90% versus 63 and still climbing. Hoffman, Karmic Revival brought back a large chunk of the team. They're going to try and focus on the Sombler as they're getting flanked by Zatek, who wants a big pickup. Galactic Legend for Chemicals to take down Sombel. And it looks like with the counter portal, body blocks to try and hold the line. They would love to try and take out that Psylocke here. A couple people did make it through the portal as the body block has failed. Blaster Barrage onto the high ground to try and get rid of Loki. Momentum has fallen. The front line is getting targeted down. Down goes Mag, and Strange follows. But here comes Emma. That's going to be enough to take down Chemicals, but they're immediately reviving to maximize damage output. Gets revenge, and Arrival 7 will take game number 2 and take us to a third map. Monotone taking the MVP. Very support-heavy MVPs today, as we now have a third game to decide who will be moving on to Marvel Rivals Ignite. Looking at the statistics. Top eliminations, 21 just for Chemicals. 20 for Self, 20 for Pinnacle, Blue. 17 for Flamme, 15 for Hoffman, Sombel, Socko, Zatek. Every elimination is extremely spread out this game. Least amount of times getting KO'd will go over to Monotone. And with top final hits being sniped away from Chemicals, going over to Self. Top damage though. Also gonna be Self, really stacking those numbers. Giving everything they could, trying to go for the Jeff Nado combo. We're able to get it a couple times, but also got shut down once or twice. Top damage blocks will be Pinnacle, doing a fantastic job this game. 42k damage blocked once again on that group, while doing 17k damage as well, which is the second highest in the game, even beating out Chemicals. Vanguards are good, y'all. I don't know why people in ranked keep trying to solo Vanguard when Vanguards are really good. Top healing. Gonna be the 32k of Monotone. Look how many people did healing at one point. Flamme, Hoffman, Monotone, and even Chemicals was able to get some healing in at one point. And with that, we have one more map to decide who will be qualifying. Let me get that set up. I hope you're all enjoying. I hope you're enjoying the main broadcast as well. I'm excited for it. It hasn't happened for me yet. For you guys, it's been going on for a couple days. For me, it starts tomorrow, because it's currently Wednesday. And I think my first cast is Friday. So I'm just excited either way. Alright, map number 3, Spider Islands, will be our third map here. Let's get this going. We are heading on in to Ego Death versus Arrival 7. Spider Islands is the map. Arrival 7 starting off with the first bad as they start on attack. Ego Death starting on defense, removing the Wolverine. Lunar Snow gonna be protected. Banned away last time, was a little bit too strong with those Lokis. Ultron protected one more time. We saw a short appearance for the Ultron. And this time they take out Hella, trying to remove some of that anti-flyer potential. Ego Death, they have learned their lesson. They are going to take away Pinnacle's Groot. Allowing the Emma Frost to thrive. Magneto also still available, so we got that great frontline combo. Arrival 7, they're going to take away the... Sorry, pick up the Winter Soldier. We'll be protecting that. It's a strong character to have in your back pocket in almost any situation, especially if Loki is going to be a popular choice. Crack and Impact, if you can time it well around the regeneration domain, those Loki clones kind of become free resets. And Psylocke taken away. Trying to remove that flanking character for Zatek. And finally, the last counterban, Adam Warlock, removed from the side here. Punisher, with that ammunition cap increase, will be making an appearance for Zatek's Self back on the Storm. Not going for the full combo this time. Momentum going to be the one starting on the rocket so that Sombler can give the team some extra armor. On defense, though, so they're going to just try and get a little bit before they rush on out. We're seeing the Ultron being hovered by Arrival 7. Flamme currently is hovering the Iron Fist here. This would make it a 2 Vanguard, a 2-2-2 technically, with 2 Vanguard, 2 Strategists, 2 Duelists, with Ultron sort of feeling the 3rd Duelist, 2nd Strategist role. This could be interesting. You can see the team just getting armored up before they roll out. And portaling towards the area. Self starting off on the Hawkeye again. They do have to rush to get there. They spend a lot of time building up that armor. Flamme did swap, in fact, off of the Iron Fist, starting on the Loki. It is going to be a 2-1-3. A little bit more usual here. Double auras. Healing aura plus storm aura. Stora. Man going to be poking away from a distance. Self. Trying to look for some early blobs. If they can find Hoffman, that's a lot of the damage. Piercing shot. They can see Pinnacle on the flank. Would love to take them out. Sorry, Chemicals. Hovering above. There is the pickup onto Chemicals. That removes a little bit of healing and a lot of the damage. They're going to take advantage of the numbers as they push on in. Zatek, in the meantime, is sieging away, trying to hold this line. Chemicals looking for an opening. Socko getting dropped low. Self continues to ping away. Shoot on in. Piercing shot. Sees Chemicals up on the high ground. God of Mischief for the fate of both worlds. Far to the power of one. Drops their own early, meaning that Momentum is going to have to time this well. Socko with the Psionic Seduction for the setup, but Hoffman is in the backline with the Omega Hurricane, but has to retreat. Their team forced to back up thanks to the Emma Frost. Not able to capitalize. Momentum with their fate of both worlds being dropped a little bit early here, meaning Monotone has the opportunity to pull the trigger, but with the counter from the Final Judgment for the chase. Trying to meld on through. Media M timed beautifully there. Sumble looking for a revenge shot, not able to find it. Self with the Hunter's Sight to try and take them down, but with that Psionic Seduction, Self is in serious trouble getting pulled on in. Dropped low, 89. They would have a single digits for just a second there. As Sumble and Socko both get taken down, and Rival 7 are creeping in step by step. This is the qualifying game. Zatek is going to try and portal them, but they might not have enough time here. 2 meters. It's going to be touched. Far. Ran on in to try and delay. Socko holding the line. The portal reinforces the rest of the team, but they are dropped extremely low. Down goes Socko. That portal might still be up. They may have time to rush on in if they respawn in time, but I don't think they have enough time. Portal is down. That is going to be point number 1. Picked up by Arrival 7 as Chemicals has moved over to the Winter Soldier. Self looking for some quick shots. Go for a cheeky blow up. Up on the high ground. What a shot onto Flamme there. Making their way in, Omega Hurricane for Hoffman for a little bit of revenge. Going to try and take them down, but the fate of both worlds says absolutely not. Quick retreat from Hoffman, but it's going to be Magneto Blue who is taken down. Speed boost aura and regeneration domain has to be burned to keep them up as they're forced to back away. Self was able to snipe Chemicals on the way out as well. Ego Death are making it so hard to step up here. Zatek sieging in. Sending in the shots from above. Hoffman trying to maximize the damage output. Here comes the God of Mischief from Flamme into the fate of both worlds to try and counteract that Psionic Seduction from Socko, who's trying to pull the team in. They're pushing on forward. Final Judgment from Zatek. Self is down. They're just going to try and capitalize, maximize damage output. They pick off the Chemicals in the Kraken impact as that Winter Soldier. Flamme is down and Zatek is going to clean on up. Zatex will push on in, and that is going to be a full retreat out of Arrival 7. Omega Hurricane coming in from Hoffman once again, going deep into the backline. Regeneration domain is dropped, cleaned out quickly. All they find is a Loki clone. Gonna try and take out Self, not enough for the finishing blow. And Self finding Monotone once again. Blue is pushing on in. This time Chemicals, who was swapped over to a Hawkeye of their own, is able to take out Self with the revenge shot.
Bad guys won't like this.
Fate of Both Worlds is buying them a lot of extra time, though. Elimination number 1. Taking out Zatek, taking out Soko. Sombel is down. Hoffman gets momentum, and the momentum is heavily in favor of a rival 7 as they are able to clean out and continue to move on towards the next point. Piercing shot through the wall for a little bit of pre-damage here.
Your god is suffering.
Only 60 seconds left.
Piercing shot. Undersight is available. Chemicals burning theirs nice and early. Media M for Sombel to try and drop them, but it's taken down. Pinnacle with the finishing blow. Here comes the dive from Soko to hold this at point number 2 to prevent it from being captured. Psionic Seduction to try and pull them on in, hoping for the expiration of that Fate of Both Worlds for the capitalization. Here is the Omega Hurricanes in the backline to try and take out Hawkeye, but forced to retreat around the corner from the final judgment of Zatex as they push on in, cleaning out everyone here. And it looks like Ego Death may be able to hold the line. Someone on the thing has reinforced to keep this delay going. 13 seconds left. Blue onto Strange. Gets frozen! No way! From across the map! Freezes the Strange, prevents the portal. Self, what a play! And that will be a hold just before point number 2 at 1 point, 127 meters, 63 centimeters.
Time to switch things up, including which side you're on. You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
What a hold! Using the Hawkeye team up to get the lockdown and prevent the portal from across the map. Could that be the key that Ego Death needed to open up with that ice arrow? To give them that possibility. They closed up a lot of distance that could have been gained if a Rival 7 had been able to portal in and win that one fight. It might have been enough. Ego Death setting up a little bit of armor for their team.
Before you attack, get ready.
So you're like your reality's version of Spider-Man.
Just armoring up, making sure the team is protected. A Rival 7, Hoffman, moving over to the Punisher of their own. Starting on the low ground, not going for the building top culling turret that we do see sometimes.
Battle starts in 5,
Going for the low ground turret.
3,
Easier for Blue to protect you that way. So much pressure is about to be on Self to find these eliminations, to find some early pickups, to create an opening. Deciding that absolutely not. Seeing the Punisher, it's time for BP. Showing us Hawkeye. They wrap around. If Black Panther can find the pickup, this could be huge. They are spotted immediately. Getting chased down, in fact. Into the zoning, into the duel. And Self completely caught here. Chemicals, though, is dropped low. Soko is getting traded up here, needs some healing and will get it. Self in the backline, finds Hoffman and Flamme this time. And is looking for more, lands the javelin onto the spear, taking out the Loki clones with the spin kick. Monotone is down, and Ego Death suddenly have all the momentum. Chemicals portaling in. They know they can maybe defend this at the next point if they can make it to the point in time, which they will be able to do. Running the triple Vanguard, Pinnacle, Blue, and Chemicals, thanks to that strange portal, have all the beef they could ask for on this point, but they're going to be able to hold it as Flamme going to be Fate of Both Worldsing with the goddess, with the god of mischief here. Countered by far as Zatex says, I'm going to burst through it with the final judgment to try and mount anyone. Momentum takes out Chemicals as Self is in the back line, trying to get rid of that Lunar Media M. Zatex gets Bloom and is taken down. Sombel onto Hoffman as Self is trying to push on through. Burst is sent to wipe out Flamme, removing at least one of the healers, trying to get onto the second one. Spin kick! Monotone is down, and it looks like Ego Death, with 2 minutes to go, will hold at point number 1 and push on in to claim that first point.
Keep up the momentum.
Arrival 7 forced to back away, defend another day. This has become a game of distance. 4 minutes and 18 seconds left to get 120 meters. 127 meters, we're already at 30. 90 meters to go as Arrival 7 forced to give everything they can to this defense as Self is taken down for Ego Death. Socko looking for an opening. Pinnacle coming in with the Psionic Seduction, going to try and set their team up for a hold at this doorway. And they've successfully done so, taking out Socko, pushing in for more, and that will create a little bit of zoning, a little bit of protection. Bionic Hook not going to land. They hold on the cart at the corner. Snowball freezes Pinnacle. Rival 7 going hard on this hold. Self going for a heavy wraparound, but is spotted immediately again. The map awareness of this team. Spear lands. There's a snowflake on Self, so they've got that little bit of extra burst protection. Psionic Seduction going in for the resets. Gets the resets, but no eliminations. Regeneration Domain shuts it down. So Self forced to back away. Fate of both worlds. Crack and impact for Hoffman. Finds reset number 1, but Fate of both worlds, this is nice and at least marks the team. In comes Zatex with the final judgment wiped off, becoming the reset as they make their way onto Momentum. Going to try and pick them off. Reset number 2. Diving in. Loki reset number 3 to clean on out. Luna goes down. It's resets galore. They literally can't use anymore because everyone's already in spawn. They just have to drop it in place and back away. And Arrival 7 with 2 minutes and 37 seconds to go. They make their stand here. Ego Death are 60 meters away from qualifying, but they just can't break through Arrival 7. Zatex fell, brought back again. Snowball dodged this time. Hoffman sending in the shots. Chemicals also trying to land some long-range shots. Self the same. Sends out an ice arrow, does not land it. It's a good hit. Trying to look for Chemicals in the backline. Fate of both worlds from both sides. God of Mischief and Momentum. Monotone dropping their own. Flamme just charges up their own God of Mischief here. And Farm 1 is not available for their own Fate of both worlds, meaning Ego Death are about to be a little bit outchained for ornaments, but it doesn't matter. You can't heal someone who's already taken out. There's the double for Self. Momentum makes it a triple. Chemicals is getting targeted down. And Ego Death, they lose Self, but they are cleaning up right now. The car starts moving. 3 people on the board. Arrival 7 starts to respawn. There is that finish line. On the staircase. The accessible ramp. The Self moves on in. Hoffman taking shots from the high ground. Bionic Hook not available, but they do have Soldier's Fist. Meteor M for Sombel, not finding the target as Chemicals with the Hunter's Sight is trying to take out the attackers to clean them out and hold the line. Blue has their own Meteor M and is delaying it as long as they can. As Far will drop that Fate of both worlds. It's set up for the final judgment. Meteor M taken out though. No Iron Bulwark to keep Zatex going. Socko going to be dropping that Psionic Seduction to try and lock them down through the Fate of both worlds, which will expire from that God of Mischief to set up for Crack and Impact. Hoffman gets one, but is taken out by Momentum, who will get eliminated. Socko's trying to buy time. 26 seconds left. Zatex has already swapped to Strange because they know that this is going to have to be the play. Up to the high ground. 60. 15. Lockdown! No, this could be devastating for Ego Death as they make their way onto the point. Someone has to touch. Otherwise, it will be Arrival 7 who'll be moving on. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. They touch it! The Loki's able to teleport onto the board using those clones to keep the delay going. And with 3 members down, Arrival 7 are getting hollowed out. Pinnacle with to try and hold, but they are taken out. Chemicals rushes in, but it's too late. Ego Death take the second point, the third map, and will be your next team for the Americans to qualify for Marvel Rivals Ignite. What a final push. Well-deserved MVP for Momentum. Teleporting onto the objective, using the Loki clones. The Trickster God snatches victory from the jaws of defeat. What a play. And with that, Ego Death qualify for Marvel Rivals Ignite. What a game. Looking at the stats here, 29 KOs for Self, 28 for Zatex. Top final hit, 17 for Self, 14 for Zatex. Chemicals getting 12. Top damage, 28k for Zatex, just beating out Hoffman with 27k. Top damage blocked is an almost exact tie with 45k, but with 45k 700, it will be Sombel beating out Blue on those Magnetos. And the top healing does go over to Far with 47,000 healing. 5k more than Flamme. Momentum, though, takes the MVP, getting 6 final hits of their own, 9k damage, 32k healing, only getting taken out 4 times, the second lowest in the game, just behind Far to the power of 1, who only got taken out 3 times. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday, day before Rival starts, so I have to rest my voice, so that's going to be it. The outro is going to be quite short today. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's cast. We have, let me double check actually, where am I on my schedule? We have 1 more America's replay to do, and 2 more Europe replays to do that I have not recorded yet. So hype, we're burning through these. I hope you're all excited. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're enjoying Ignite as well. And after that, we'll be covering MRC. So I hope you're all prepared for that as well. Plenty of replays still to come on this channel. And again, check me out, the official Marvel Rivals channel for Ignite and MRC as well. For now, thank you all very much for watching. I have been Tetcher, and I will see you all tomorrow.